My name is Rogosch. I'm from rSquared Home and Design. There we go. We are a full-service interior design firm that happens to have a showroom. We are located in downtown Rehoboth Beach. We are the first, well, I should say, we are the only modern contemporary design and showroom in the Rehoboth Beach area. We started with rSquared Design and opened March 1st, rSquared Home at 39 Baltimore Avenue. We are combining both high style and affordability within the showroom, showcasing many designs that I personally have designed and have started manufacturing and licensing to distinct brands. I have over 20 years of interior design and architectural experience. You're probably thinking that's not possible. I probably had just been born. But I actually just turned 40 and had started the architecture program in my high school, was the first person ever to letter in a non-sport in the state of Texas, and started my first architecture job at the age of 18. I started traveling all over the United States, working on major projects for Harrah's Casino, Walt Disney World, and major high-end retailers and model home developers on the West Coast and in the DC area. And these are some of the projects and some of the stuff that I've been working on. Currently working on 2 major new town centers in the Washington, D.C. area. Watkins Mills Town Center in Gaithersburg, which is a 250-acre town center. I am the lead designer with what single architect in-house, designing over 10 different multifamily and residential buildings. We're trying to combine contemporary and chic design, but again, at an affordable price. Here you see some of the items that I have carried in the store, and including some furniture that I'm actually in the process of manufacturing myself. I work with local manufacturing facilities. I have a workroom in North Carolina that does all my furniture, and 3 custom workrooms that are across the United States doing my soft goods. Within the store, you will see items that are unique to the store. We are very diligent in bringing in items that you will not see in any other location in the Rehoboth area, and actually sometimes up and down the eastern seaboard between DC and Philadelphia. We're also working with a lot of local and regional manufacturers. Here in the top left picture, you see some alpaca throws. These are actually Surrey alpaca throws, raised actually in Hudson Valley and woven in the Hudson Valley. The top right are hand-printed block trays and coasters from a company in California. The dogware is unique to our store as well. It's actually made out of bamboo, and the plates mats are made out of recycled rubber tires. The other block prints that you see on the right is also another unique company that we just found. So we're really looking to bring in other companies that are much like us, small businesses, people who are just making a go of it, or are looking for limited distribution, so that way when you come into our store you have a very unique experience. We've also launched our own brands. In the process of launching 2 brands, the rSquared brand and the Rexie Boy brand. Rexie Boy is a mid to lower price point, fun, vibrant, exuberant, and then our upsell brand, which is the rSquared brand, which is still modern but sophisticated. So we're looking to bring in younger clientele and people who would normally want interior design help or need interior design help, which is how I actually started my career in the rSquared in 2008. And then as they grow with us, they transition into our rSquared brand. So how does it make us different than other people? Well, we tell everybody we are an interior design firm first that happens to have a showroom. Most of our competitors you see here are actually showrooms that happen to have interior design services. So we really are selling a service more than we are selling a product. So that's really what kind of sets us apart and has people look at us in a different light. We've also started a new program called We Give Back and Design You. The 2 programs within our stores, every Saturday night at the moment, we have what we call Champagne and Shop from 6 to 9. 10% of our proceeds from that time period goes back to a different nonprofit organization. Last Saturday, we had an animal shelter, and we actually had puppies, and we actually got three different puppies adopted that evening. We do our local LGBT Camp Rehoboth. We have done, we're doing the Rehoboth Beach Bandstand. So in the future, every one of our locations, which we are looking to expand to more locations, will look locally to give back. And then the Design U program will be bringing in people for a night of champagne and shop, and we will actually sit down and let me teach you a little bit about design and show us how we can help you create your perfect space, in hopes that you then tell other people that you had such wonderful service at our store, and that really what you need to come into rSquared for is our atmosphere and then the product. So that's a little bit about me in a very brief, short synopsis of my 20 years of career, and a little bit about rSquared Home and what we can do for you guys.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great presentation. Questions or comments for Rex? I have a quick question for
Yes.
you. One of the things you mentioned is about trying to differentiate yourself from others in the community. How do you go about trying to send out that message to the community?
Well, right now, when we first moved in, we sent out a major press release. In fact, we were picked up by the Cape Gazette. I'm forgetting one of the local senators' names, but I have forgotten his name already because it's early in the morning. But he did call us. We had a major ribbon cutting ceremony. Camp Rehoboth is our landlord, so we've partnered with them to do a lot of community-wide outreach. We have been talking to the new local NBC affiliate, the WRD Arts, the guy who's going to be producing that. I've been in talks with him. And then we canvass every Saturday. We're out with little flyers and handing them out on the sidewalk and out on the beach, and just word of mouth. We have a very strong presence on social media. Our Facebook page has nearly 1,800 people, and it keeps growing every day. I'm on Instagram and Foursquare and the whole likes. So we're really kind of embracing all the different aspects of how people get their news, especially in a small community. We were very surprised that people still read newspapers. So we actually, when the Cape Gazette article came out, it was a full half-page, front-page article on us, and we had actually, for about 2.5 weeks, people coming in and go, "We saw you in Cape Gazette, so we had to come in." So it's been really great with kind of a multitasked, media blitz every month that we do it.
That's great. Awesome. Questions or comments? I'll be right back.
Congratulations, you
Thank you.
opened in March.
Yes, ma'am.
Wonderful. Would you talk a little bit about your business structure? Are you sole proprietor, partnership, general partnership, or?
We are an LLC. When I first started rSquared Design, I was a sole proprietorship. My now fiance came to me actually last year and said, "I think you need to open a store," and I told him he was crazy. I didn't want to get back into retail, ever. And he's like, "No, I think you really need to do this," because a lot of the product that I've been designing was for my clients. Doing a lot of work in DC and Philly, most people love large furniture, but it can't fit. So that's where my product came in, and he saw all this stuff. He's like, "People need to see it." So I went back and created the LLC, and then one day we got a phone call from a real estate friend of ours, because we met actually here. My fiance has been summering here for 8 years. We've been summering here for 4 years, and came February 15th, opened March 1st.
Do you have a business plan?
My partner is kind of working on that. My partner actually has an executive MBA through Penn State, and he's the one who's the business side of this. I found very long time ago that it's very difficult for a creative person to also do business and do it well. So we've kind of divided and conquered that, and I leave most of the business side and the marketing to him, and I take care of the day-to-day operations and the creative side. And that way we can completely keep both sides running. And I have to say that it's done very well for us. In the 3 months that we've been open, we've actually been able to pay back over a third of our debt.
Did I also hear you say you had several other locations?
Our goal is actually to open up several locations.
Okay.
So we are looking to diversify. I'm in the process right now of trademarking the brand names. And then looking, and our goal is not next year, but the following year, so in 2 years, to open up a second location.
Okay.
And keep opening up another location every year.
I'm just wondering about your actual products. And I'm thinking of other locations, if you were interchanging.
We will be. So my goal is to, again, to be regional. So for instance, our next location that we're looking at is Fort Lauderdale, only because we want another house down there, and so we can have 2 beach houses. That's purely it. But also, it's a growing market. And while there will be key products that will be in both locations, we will also be looking to, you're not going to sell an alpaca throw, obviously, in Fort Lauderdale. It doesn't get cold enough. So again, that's what kind of differentiates the model that we're looking at versus a West Elm. Because if you go into a West Elm, for the most part, I used to work for West Elm Corporate. I used to do a lot of their displays. So looking at a West Elm, if you go from region to region, 90% of the product is the same, and 10% is regionalized. We would like to flip that. And the core product, the products that we actually design, so the furniture I design, my candles, those types of things will be, the core product will be in every store. So that would say 20 to 30%, where 70% will be regionalized. So you'll be really selling products and design that still fits our aesthetic, still fits our brand, but will be more geared towards that area.
So how do you consistently look at your supply meeting the demand?
So it's called a lot of traveling. Every August, well, actually twice a year, there's a huge show in New York that we go to. Twice a year, there's a show in Dallas. Twice a year, there's a show in Atlanta. Twice a year, there's a show in High Point. So as we move forward and have more locations, my role in the stores will become a little less, and it'll be more, I'll be hiring more people to be able to man the store, be those professional designers in the store. And that's my goal, is to become more of the product person. Instead of wearing 7 hats, I'd like to only wear 2.
With all the marketing that you're doing, are you finding it a challenge already?
No.
Okay.
Only because I grew up in the computer industry, in computer age. I mean, if you think about it, my first computer class was in 6th grade. I started the AutoCAD program in my high school. So for me, computers are just, and then it's all on my phone, actually. I mean, even my register, my QuickBooks, I can get to every file that I ever need here. So for me, and I have one program that I shoot a picture and it hits out to all my multimedia. So I've actually simplified it for myself. So using programs like Hootsuite, and actually Instagram now connects to Twitter, Facebook, and all that with one click of a button. So if you know how to use this technology, it's actually much simpler and then stay on point, yeah.
Are you doing all your social media yourself?
At the moment, I am, yes, between myself and my partner.
So how do you allocate all of your time? Because obviously you're growing your business, you're giving back to the community. And
again, it's very simple. I mean, when I'm in the store between customers, you snap a picture of something that we're doing, and 40 characters or less, send it out. So it actually really doesn't take a lot of time. And I think what the misconception is a lot of people think, oh my God, I have to spend all this time in marketing, and it really is not that hard. I mean, a few clicks of a button. Programs like Hootsuite, once I sit down, you can actually program Hootsuite to blast out your multimedia every day, and you program a full month's worth of stuff. So you spend one night with a glass of wine at the coffee table in your living room, and you're done for the month. So it really is actually working smarter, not harder, and it's something I've always taught all of my employees at any company that I've ever managed, and it's amazing how much you can do. I mean, I'm used to working in an architecture firm on 7 to 8 projects at a time, and when I mean a project, I'm talking a 300-unit apartment complex, work on 8 of them at a time, from design, well, the first one's in design to the last one's in construction, and keep all of them in your head. So really, it's a matter of working better.
Very interesting, to say the least.
Thank you.
I have the sense that your most productive client would be someone of means. Would that be true?
No.
No?
I actually started in 2008.
Interesting.
I actually started in 2008 with clients who could not afford interior designers. I took a break from interior design for about 4 years and ran a high-end, what we considered a high-end tile showroom in Washington, D.C. called Architectural Ceramics. 90% of my clients who came in were from the Arlington area, where they were taking a 2-bedroom house, turning it into a 5-bedroom house because their families were growing, and they were sinking all of their money into it. In fact, they couldn't afford to furnish it. They found out I was a designer, and I saw a need. These people needed my help. So what I did was I went in, and for a very low fee, I showed them how to design their house. I put together a book for them and said, this is what your house will look like when it's done. Take your time.
That's interesting. It really is. It sounded like you were stressing affordability, but you were building your model around appointments that seemed like they were would be more natural in someone of substantial means. And maybe you convert it from someone who is not of substantial means to make it appear to be of such. But my thought was this: in your marketing, and you sound like you're extremely savvy, are you familiar with a thing called the cross directory or the blue book?
The Blue Book, yes.
Have you used it?
I find that with interior design, it doesn't follow the model that most construction, architects, and contractors. And the reason why I say that is because I've tried kind of all of them, Angie's List, Blue Book, all of them. Interior design is a want-based, not a need-based. Typically, people who go those routes that are looking for contractors and looking for interior design, looking for contractors and architects and whatnot, it's a want-based. You need to have something taken care of. So unfortunately, the models of places like that, and there's another one called Service something, which I had lengthy conversations with actually the owner of the company, and basically told him, if you want to change your model, this is how you do it.
Well, the reason I was asking, if I might just interject, because we have limited time, is in Ileana's library, right over next door, there is such systems there, and in that, if you're familiar with it, there's a coding process that can tell you the income, the family size, by address, by phone number, et cetera, and you can market from it in a phenomenal way. But if you're already familiar, then that would be an easy way you could offload that without you having to do it, and then you could make a decision on the final mailings. I just want you to be aware of that.
Yeah, I mean, we'll definitely look at that. Right now, two of our really good friends are real estate agents here in the local area, so they're blasting. We've requested the new construction lists. We're also partnering with a lot of the custom home builders who don't have interior design firms built into their companies. So I actually have 2 meetings right now with two major builders to actually, so we're definitely, so anything like that I would definitely be interested in looking at. That's kind of our, we're doing, you know, kind of the niche marketing. We're trying to be careful about that in a way that we don't want to bully people or make assumptions to people. So right now we're really looking at people who are new construction, remodeling at the present time, because we know those people are going to need something done on the inside of their house, versus if I just blanket somebody who has a house, don't know anything about it, while they might have money, they might not need a designer. And to me, while getting my name out there is important, the using of the funds to target to people who actually we know need. In fact, we just did this the other day. There's a new construction on Queen Street. We hand-delivered one of our signature candles and a postcard saying, "Congratulations, welcome." And she's already in the store, and now I have a client. That's fine, I can hear you. It's fine.
And the transfer list gives the address and so forth. It might even give the name.
Okay.
And if you're looking to target, those are probably 30 to 60 days old from the time they settled.
Sure.
So they've moved into the house. Chances are it may be not overwhelmed with too much correspondence.
Yep.
You might want to time that appropriately and use those as a target.
So it's called the transfer list?
It's a public record that when a house sells or a property sells,
Correct.
it is announced in the paper. So you'll have a list of them. It could be 30, 50, or 100, depending on Newcastle County or here or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in the paper. I don't know how I could, if we had a paper, it may be in today, may not. The papers themselves do it with their own independence. They'll go down to the recorder of deeds and pick the information off, and
Okay.
they throw it in the paper. But it's valuable stuff, I'll
Yeah,
tell you.
that would definitely be stuff that, like I said, we have real estate friends who are doing that for us right now, but if I could just tap into a database,
That's
it would be much
a
easier for
direct
me.
target market for you from what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Congratulations,
Thank you.
Rex. I think it's impressive what you're doing.
Thank you.
And very well thought out. But as I heard you, I think you're talking of like 3 areas. You're either designing for an individual, but you can take what you design and create it as a product.
Correct.
That's yours and you sell for anyone
Correct.
who walks in and wants it. Did I understand that that regional idea you talked about is you get other people's products that fit you and you carry them as well?
Correct. We're like any we're like any retailer. Every retailer that's out there goes to these markets and buys. So when you walk into a West Elm, what they're actually producing is about 10% of their product line.
Okay.
So much like any retailer, we have to supplement. There's no way that anybody can afford to produce their own stuff on mass quantity. So like most retailers, yes, I'm going to markets, picking products that I feel represent our brand and represent our aesthetic for the showroom itself. And as we move forward and open up other locations, what might sell in Rehoboth might not necessarily sell in Fort Lauderdale. So that 70% of product that I need to bring in to fill the space will be regionalized. It'll be stuff that makes sense in that region. The other 30% will be stuff that we design. So for instance, I do all my own upholstery goods. I have my own furniture line, our own candles. We have 8 different fragrances. I'm designing a pillow line, coasters, bedrolls, those types of things that have our design aesthetic, that when you see it, you'll know it's a Rexie Boy or an rSquared brand.
Okay.
So that's kind of the core of everything, and then everything around it supports it.
I mean, you've got great balance in your thinking. Where do you see the growth potential when you think about those different avenues that you now have?
For me, it's branding. The branding, for instance, I hate to say this, but Nate Berkus, for instance, you find him in Target. Jonathan Adler, Todd Oldman, like all of these major designers now have other brands. So that's where I see the biggest growth. I'm already talking to other of my manufacturers that I buy from now who bring on specialty designers to design product for them. So brand recognition is the largest sector of growth by far for anybody who has a product line.
And you would sell it online or only at your store? Or
Eventually we will have an online presence for the stuff that's only in our stores. And then my goal is to basically pour out my name and put it on products for other people as well. So for instance, I have a company that I buy from that is looking for designers, so I'm looking to sit down with them next month and design a pillow line for them. And then that pillow line will be sold to everybody else who buys from them. And it just exponentially goes out from there.
That's wonderful. By the way, we met another person who was growing alpacas in Laurel, Delaware.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you know they're there.
They, I believe, are my fiance's cousin. Because we know that there's an alpaca farm here in Delaware and that is cousins with him. Okay. And we're trying to get the alpacas. I have one of my best friends in Virginia Beach who actually weaves and does her own yarns, and so I'm trying to actually get her to do some alpaca threads for me.
You're ahead of the curve.
We're trying to find them. We haven't been able to get in touch with them. That would be perfect because we've been told they're cousins.
Well, congratulations again, especially such a running start that you have. That's
Yes.
terrific.
Thank you.
Couple points. I think it was last week we had a young businesswoman here who, granted her product was not a home product, but she was designing fabrics to make purses out of. And so when you were showing that, I thought that might be some synergy maybe to connect the two of you.
Absolutely.
You also mentioned that you are the only modern showroom here.
Correct.
Which is kind of nice for the beach scene. But it also made me wonder, because we have, in Sussex County, we have a lot of tradition, like Lewis being the first town in the first state. We have a lot of historical homes across the county and a lot of styles like that. Are there other styles that you use in your interior design besides contemporary or modern?
Yes, so for the interior design side, I am a fully rounded architect and interior designer, so I can do just about anything. But we found that, we are on a street with 4? We are the 4th, we're the 5th. So there's 4 other design home stores on our street that have been there for years. So we really needed to do 2 things. We needed to separate ourselves and say, well, why are you going to come into my store? And secondly, separate ourselves. So my wheelhouse, what I'm comfortable doing, because it's what I like, is modern and mid-century. It was a very nerve-wracking proposition to think about, because when we sat down and thought, well, what are we going to bring into the store? And we literally did it in 2 weeks. Signed lease February 15th, open March 1st. we were like, what are we going to do? And I said, well, let's do modern. And it was because of some of the research that I had done. Majority of the people who are actually moving here are of a younger set. They're from an urban area. They're from DC, they're Baltimore, Philadelphia. So they are looking for modern and traditional pieces. Secondly, after working corporate West Elm, the amount of furniture that West Elm ships here was staggering. So I'm like, well, why do they have to ship here? So it was a leap of faith, and it's paid off, because there used to be a store in Rehoboth. It was called Abisax, and everybody still talks about it. They loved that store. And that was the first store that we've been compared to. And if I have to be compared to something that somebody loves, I'll take it in a heartbeat. So it was a nerve-wracking. But that's the thing. When people come in and if they say, oh, we're too modern, our first words to everybody is we are a full-service interior design showroom. What you will see in our show is stuff that is grab-and-go, giftable items, stuff for you on the way to the party. Let us have a conversation. We sell service, not a product. So it does convert people once we have that, and I hand them a glass of wine.
Go ahead.
Hi, Rex.
Hello.
I live in Rehoboth, so I think it's great that you're reaching out to the community to do good things. One of the things that people are paying more attention to are where their products come from and the conditions they're manufactured under. So can you talk a little bit about how you vet your suppliers?
Absolutely. So we look at it a couple of ways. You know, first, our conversation with a lot of our suppliers are you anywhere else in the area? If they say yes, we walk away. Just purely from that respect, because we don't want to open up competition. Secondly, you know, we do look at a lot of the American, like for instance, the alpacas. It's on a farm in the Hudson Valley. It's a family-owned business. The furniture supplier that I have all my furniture built at is in North Carolina, also family-run business. Our candles are hand-poured, soy candles. We were originally using a couple of guys in Philadelphia. They were doing it out of their living room. And now we've moved to another guy who does them in West Hollywood. So we do look at a lot of those things. Unfortunately, you can't do it with everything. And I'll be the first to say, I mean, we have product in there that's made in India. We have product that's made in you know, China. But there are a lot of companies that we look at and, you know, recycled content. I have a rug company, it's called Jaipur Rugs, and they actually have a nonprofit organization that they started that they actually take women from Jaipur, educate them, and help them buy their own looms. So we do have a lot of those products in the store, and we do highlight them. And because we are, I mean, I have 250 dealers that I work with. That's how big my library is of things that I can pull from. I only show probably about 5 in my showroom out of that. And partially it's because of they're unique. They have a unique story. They're from the States. Or if they're not from the States, they're helping other people. So we try our best, you know, being philanthropic ourselves. We used to sit in Philadelphia. My partner sat on Delaware Valley Legacy Fund, which is $1 million LGBT legacy fund. He sat on the board. I did fundraising for them. I work with the Trevor Project. I worked with the LGBT Youth Center in Philadelphia. So for us, this is not just something that we're doing as a business statement. It's something that we do every day. And we've brought it into our lives. And so everything that we touch, we do. My partner has a business as well that also gives back. So we try as much as possible to talk to our vendors and find out what they're about. As far as I know, everything is on the up and up. But it's hard. It's really difficult these days. So.
We have time for another question.
Congratulations on your professionalism and your planning.
Thank you.
You mentioned pounding the pavement on weekends. Can you tell me where you go and how you do it and what you hand out?
Well, we do flyers every Thursday to talk about our champagne and shop, which is something that we're really trying to push as kind of a fun, we call it the best happy hour in Rehoboth because it's free. And we really just walk the sidewalks. I stand outside my store. We actually bought these little wire statues. We call them Tate and Hodis. They have their own Instagram now, #Tate, #Hodis, which makes people stop and we have conversations with them. My coworker, office manager, and my fiance both go up and down the beach handing out flyers. We've talked to all the major businesses. We've made friends with all the restaurant tours. We've made friends with the hotel people. We've made little business cards for the salons. So if you, for instance, go to Bad Hair Day, they have little cards. And once you get your haircut at Bad Hair Day, they'll hand you a card, say, go see Rex, he'll give you 10% off. So we've really kind of gone underground with a lot of our, and because it's a small town, those are the people who talk. And I've already had people who've come in and go, I overheard somebody talking yesterday about you guys at dinner. I'm like, was it good? Like, yes. It's like, perfect. So that, I mean, we are literally, you can call it grassroots, we're like in the dirt. In the dirt, giving out stuff. And then that's the thing, I'm not worried about giving out candles, giving out, you know, if it brings people in, again, it's, for me, it's about the service and not about the product.
Rex, what can we do as a community to help and support you and help your growth?
Come out Saturday nights. Seriously, and I think that's the biggest thing is, you know, come out, not only come out and, you know, see what we're about and, you know, buy products, I mean, obviously that's what we're here for, but come out to the events. Saturday night from 6 to 9 is our biggest thing, because 10% of our proceeds go to another organization that's here in Sussex County. So for me, if you're going to buy something, I'd want you to buy it on Saturday night, because now you're supporting 2 organizations, not just one. And then that organization is then going to be able to do something for the community. So it's kind of, you know, give forward. So I would encourage everybody to do that, to, you know, come support us, support the community.